What's up guys, this is Chris down here at Our Strength Gym. Sitting here alongside my good friend Bobby Lynch.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks for being here.
Well,
So Bobby, tell us a little bit about yourself and what we're doing today.
like Chris said, my name is Bobby Lynch. I'm a strength and conditioning coach at Benedictine University, as well as a women's soccer coach over there. But I also deal with a lot of the strength and conditioning for more than just that. I deal with all sports over there, so what we do is teach a lot of injury prevention as well as just biomechanics. So I'm here today, I'm going to teach a couple of lifts, I'm going to go over technique as well as just overall lifting patterns. So if we want to start from here,
Let's do it.
Alright, so for the first part of this, we want to break down how you would start up. Right now we have our bar set up with some bumper plates on it, but right now we need to come into our approach. So currently we want to have the bar in the middle of our foot right here. We don't want it all the way in where it's hitting our shins, and we don't want it all the way up here on our toes where we have to end up rounding our back. What we want is the bar right here in the middle of our foot. It's going to differentiate for everybody since there's different body builds, but typically you want to have your grip right outside of your feet. Feet are about shoulder width apart, and what we're going to be doing right here is going to be back straight, hips up. So building off this from the side view, we want to have our shoulders straight above our hands, making sure we're neutral. At the same time, we don't want to be rounding our back, we don't want to be hyperextending, we want to have a nice flat back, and we want to be facing about 5 to 6 feet out, so that way our head is in neutral alignment with the rest of our spine is one straight line. And at this point, we're going to be working on the first pull of the clean, which is essentially triple extension. So what that means is we need extension of our hips, our knees, and our ankles. So right now they're all in a flex position. We want to become extension. So triple extension is what we need to do, working from the ground up, driving through the heels to triple extension. As you can see, the similarities between the triple extension and deadlift are quite the same. The only difference is that the power generated with the hips needs to be there in order to create that momentum for the hang clean or the power clean, whichever you prefer to do. So in order to move on to the second part, what I'd recommend using is actually a piece of PVC or a wooden dowel or something like that, because this is a very technique-driven exercise. So the next part of the clean is going to be the high pull. Right here, what we want to do is make sure that we stress that it is not a reverse curl. You see a lot of people just try to reverse curl it up, and what they're doing is put a lot of stress on their lower back. So once again, with a piece of PVC or a wooden dowel, I'd recommend going from the triple extension right into here. As soon as we're driving those hips forward, we're bringing the bar up, up, up. It's, again, got to be in that straight line. We want to keep our bar path from right down to where we started, all the way up to here in that same line. So right here. Working on the high pull. Got our triple extension right here, as we see. Once we are completing with the triple extension, we don't want to obviously just stop here, but what we want to do is create the high pull, so we want to drive the bar up every time. So we're high pulling right now. This is our high pull. We want to use that momentum from our triple extension to drive that bar up. Once again, as you'll notice, the bar path staying straight. It's not coming out like this. We're not swinging in a reverse curl, but we're just driving the bar straight up. Going from there. So lastly, what I recommend to help with the triple extension of the ankles is going to be what we just call the jump shrug, which is just taking the bar right here with its weight. We're going to be jumping in the air, we're relaxing the elbows, just holding the bar in our hands and jumping, and we're going to be shrugging. And what that is going to do is help us push off our toes, because when this weight gets heavy, we want to use that momentum to drive this weight up, because we're not always going to be flat on the ground lifting like this. Okay, so far we've gone through a couple different steps in our clean bar complex. The first step was our first pull, which was the triple extension. From right here to we're straight up. The second part that we worked on was our high pull, driving through with the hips, hoping to use that momentum to drive the weight up instead of reverse curling. Now, we're going to finish with the catch. So, once we're going to start from here, we have the weight right here. What we want to do is when we're driving this weight straight up, we want to take our elbows right from here at its highest point, and wrap them under. Okay? So what we need to do at the same time, because as you'll notice, if you can see over here, my fingers aren't all holding onto the bar. We have to relax our wrists, otherwise we're not going to be able to. And there's a couple different exercises that we can show you that'll help with the flexibility. So once again, straight from here, we have our triple extension right here. We have our high pull, and then what we need to do is finish with tucking the elbows up and under. And then once again, having that flexibility in our wrist to create the shelf. because right here we need 5 points of contact. As you see, my first wrist is my first point, my left deltoid right here, my sternum, my right deltoid, and then my right hand. Those are the 5 points of contact. We want the weight up here to create that shelf, so that way, once this is heavier weight, I can just balance it right here. Don't need to hold on to the bar. Because what happens, people are going to catch the bar right here. They put a lot of that weight in their wrist, they put it in their elbows, and if this is a little bit heavier, that weight's forward, and I'm falling forward. Okay. So there are all the steps so far that we have in the hang clean or the power clean, whichever you prefer to do. So I'm going to demonstrate just what it should look like from beginning to end. And again, we need to make sure we're taking the proper steps, not only to make sure we're doing it correctly, but to help avoid injury as well. So once again, finding your stance, feet straight in the middle under the bar, back straight, head facing 4 to 5 feet out, keeping that spine neutral, and we're going to be driving through the triple extension. Okay. So there are the steps of the hang clean in order. Now what we want to do here is, in the last part of the video, is going to show you a little bit on how we can work on our flexibility and working on our catch. I know a lot of people are going to have wrist flexibility issues in working to create that shelf that we were talking about earlier. So what we can do, there's just a couple of wrist exercises that we can do. We can do 3 to 4 sets of just working on extending our fingers back, working on really driving that wrist back. So both ways, 3 to 4 sets of 10. Try that a couple times a week. That'll help. But one big thing that helps me, since a lot of this derives from not only the tricep, but the latissimus dorsi muscle back here, what we want to do is we actually want to open up our muscle and the flexibility or elasticity of our muscle. So muscle right here on the rough part of the bar. And it shouldn't be on the actual elbow, but the bed of the muscle. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the middle, inside and outside. We're just going to basically loosen up the muscle. This should be a little uncomfortable, but it should not be painful. Once again, we're just going to be hitting all aspects of the muscle. And this should go for about 30 seconds. So I'm going to kind of just go through it really quickly here. But as you'll see, there's already going to be a quick difference in just the flexibility and the level that I can bring this elbow up to. So as you can see, there's a difference in the level just from that alone. So again, that exercise right there will help create that elasticity that we need in order to get our elbows up. Again, I can bring this elbow up, but it's a little bit harder to do. Try it, you'll feel it for yourself.